Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. Today episode is special because we are sitting here with a journalist, with a leader, with a true change maker. From the classes in Bishkek to the conferences in Budapest. So if you are interested in journalism or maybe you want to travel abroad for free or you're just feeling inspired, this conversation has something for you. So please welcome our special guest, Salima Almazbekova, who is senior student at the Journalism and Mass Communication Department.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming today. So let's dive right in. The first question is, let's start from the very beginning. So what first inspired you to choose this department? I mean, the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, and how this happened?
Well, I think it all began in my childhood, back in the 7th grade, I guess, because I was always curious about filming videos and writing. And I always filmed videos from the family trips and from the friend trips in general. And I was pretending that I'm a TV host or correspondent, talking basically about the event or the place we're in. And then I was always curious about writing. And I think I had personal diaries from the age of 10. And since then, I was passionate about writing. I started to try myself as a journalist in school, started to try writing articles or take some courses on journalism. And in general, I was always passionate about talking about important issues and giving the voices to the people who need it. And then back in the 10th or 11th grade, I was 100% sure, and I wrote everywhere in all of the school essays that I want to be a journalist, and I was telling that to everyone. And it was not even a question in my family, like sometimes in the 11th grade, over the family dinners, they're like talking about, so who you're going to be? So what's going to be your major? It was never a question in my family because everybody knew, all the relatives and all the villages and everywhere. They always knew that this girl is going to be a journalist because that was something that was since childhood.
Okay, this is impressive. Yeah, because like sometimes people even not in the 11th grade, like in 40 years old, people don't know what they want to do,
Right.
But you were like sure when you were in 7th grade. Yeah, and you said like you always open issues and questions. Thank you for doing that. So coming back to the journalism, how would you describe your department? Like in terms of vibe, I don't know, teaching style, the faculty? Just a couple of words about the department.
Sure. I think that what I love the most in AUCA is my department, and I'm forever grateful for all the knowledge they gave it to me. And one word, if you ask me about the one word, that I would say friendship, because our department is extremely friendly, and I would say that maybe it's because it's small. We don't have like 80 or 100 people. We have way less students, but that's what makes us more close to each other. And what I like the most and I appreciate the most is the close connections with our professors. I think it's really important to feel that connection and to feel that support over the 4 years. And what I like the most is that we have both theoretical and practical skills. And we learn a lot about theory, but then our professors really take so much efforts to take us into the real world and to show us what is happening out there, such as taking us to different radio stations or to different media production studios or to different media places in general, inviting us to different conferences or events. And I think that is how we can actually feel what is there outside of the world.
Yeah, this is super cool. But there is a quote that says like journalism is not about writing; it is about skills, values, and like instincts. So, what core skills do you think your program helped you to build?
Yeah, I think journalism is a very, very broad field. Like it has so many different branches. Like some do writing, some do reporting, some do investigations and research. And some of the core skills, I would say, if you take more like general skills, then I would say it's curiosity. It's very crucial to be curious in journalism. And I think that is the skill that applies to every single field out there in the world. So journalism really teaches you how to be curious and how to lead those effective communications, which is extremely important in today's world. And it seems like a simple thing, but sometimes, when you meet certain people, when you have certain experiences, you kind of feel sometimes people lack of basic communication skills. And I think that is very important to learn and to teach. And I think some of the guest lecturers that come to our department, they always say that the difference between journalists and, for example, communication specialists is that journalists know so many things. They know so many topics, from politics to sports, from sports to comedy, because they need to deliver proper information. And in general, I think being curious is extremely important. And that skill really taught me a lot how to learn about other skills. Another skills, I would say, writing. I know journalism is not only about writing, but writing is really important. And it's not only about the job and the academics, but in general, in the future, it is extremely helpful.
This is exactly why I would never be a good journalist, I guess, because I know how to write, but I really don't like that. I hate writing. It's better even in messaging, I like voice messages. I know that it is sometimes inconvenient, I don't know, but this is what it is for me. And summing up the block about journalism department, for you just to imagine if maybe you had this situation, if freshman student would come to you and ask an advice, just one advice on day one, what would you say to him or to her?
Take initiative, support someone who needs your support, and in general, always be curious. Again, be curious, write those emails, ask extra questions just to make sure that you are on the right path. Connect with professors outside of the class, offer some project ideas, or ask them if there are internship or job opportunities. After the different guest lectures, we have a bunch of guest lectures in AUCA, stay after the lecture and ask questions, ask to connect if you're interested in that person or in that company, and to, in general, being
Going extra mile.
Exactly. Being passionate about what you do.
Yeah, going extra mile. I guess perfect advice. Let's talk about your international experience, because I know that it's huge. Probably your passport is full of stamps. Could you please tell us a bit about the programs, exchanges where you have taken a part in?
Yeah, sure. I think that is the best part of my 4 years at AUCA. So my first international experience was at the Get Engaged conference, which is a student leadership conference organized by the Open Society University Network, which we're a part of. And it happened in Budapest 2 years ago. We went there for a week to represent AUCA as well as representing Kyrgyzstan, to present the civic engagement projects we did back home. Basically, all of the partner institutions, so it was around 50 participants from different countries from all over the world, and they came there to present their own projects. They did in their cities, towns, or villages, and we did the same, obviously. And then that was actually a very interesting part, because many students at AUCA ask me, how did I get in? How did I get the scholarship? How did I get to go there for free? And I think that it was both my hard work and a great coincidence, because while applying to the conference, I also applied to the Central European University Summer School, which is also located in Budapest. And it happens to be that my summer school at CU began right after the conference has ended. So it was right next to each other. And then the third program was right after the CU summer school has ended. It was the next day, and it was the program in Prague. It's called European Journalism Institute by the Fund for American Studies. And it is also a very common program.
So you went to 3 programs at the same time?
In a row.
In a row.
3 programs in a row. And now I will tell how did I get to manage all of the scholarships and to do that for free. So, the Get Engaged conference is fully funded. So they cover your air tickets, they cover even your meals,
everything.
Everything, yeah, they cover everything. They cover even visa costs and stuff, accommodation and all of that. Then the CU Summer University also covers that. So basically I was just staying, and I was living in the same dorm, because the conference was also based on the CU building. And I just moved to another room after the conference. And then I basically... So it was all covered. And then I got lucky with the fact that with Prague, so the Prague begins right after the summer university. And then I just got to get to Prague by train. And so the Prague program, it was pretty cheap, I would say. And that when the question of coming back home came. And that is pretty expensive, right? Like getting a ticket from Europe back home. And they were not covering that. But that is the situation where Silk steps in. Yeah, so we have the Silk office at AUCA, which covers the accommodation or air tickets or pretty much anything that is connected to important and significant summer trips or research conferences.
Yeah, it's not only summer trips, like any trips, right?
Any trips,
yeah,
right?
you can apply for exchanges and everything.
Right. And yeah, I just needed to prove to them that it is a very important program. And it was a very important program because it was the program that connected journalists across the world in the heart of Europe, in my favorite city, by the way, in Prague. And they covered my air tickets. So it was my hard work because I was spending the whole January at home applying to all of those bunch of schools, writing those endless applications. And that is why writing is important, because even software engineering or BA students, they still apply to those summer schools, to master programs where you need to have those writing skills. But then it was also a coincidence with the dates.
Yeah.
So
like this is super cool because like I wouldn't say that like I got accepted to all the programs always, but there are some situations when you have to choose between two programs. Like for example, one in Brussels, Belgium, and another one, for example, I don't know, in Colombia, and you have to choose because I had this situation and I had to choose to Brussels. But for example, if it would be like in two different dates, I would go to both.
To both of them.
Yeah.
So and the next experience is, of course, my favorite one is the exchange semester at Bard College. It was wonderful. I think we need a whole other podcast talking about that. But it was really, really great and was also fully funded at that moment. And then the last one I had again in Prague, again by the same organization, but this time it was the TFAS Prague program, which is basically a summer school, a very long one, I would say, almost a month in Prague.
In your favorite
in my
city?
favorite city. Yes, number one. Prague goes first even not after New York. So I like Prague more.
Like, was it before you went to Prague or it is after you went to Prague?
I think the first time I arrived in Prague, I fell in love with this city. And after that, it became my favorite city. I like Prague more than New York.
Okay, in short, if you can say in short, what makes Prague special?
I think it just feels like you're in a fairy tale. I just like the
vibe.
Yeah, the atmosphere, how people are living their lives there. They're basically enjoying. In the US, it's a very hustle culture,
But it depends on the place.
It depends on the place. Well, I was in New York.
For example, this is exactly what I say. I love Narragansett City.
Mm-hmm.
I think 90% of people even don't know where is that. It is in Rhode Island in the US. But this is like one of my favorite places in the world because like it is close to the ocean. They have their own hills. People are super slow. Like there's so like little number of people living in the city. It is a super cool place. But like when I say to people like I like Narragansett more than New York or Los Angeles, they're like, what are you talking about? So that's why I'm asking about the park.
Yeah, I think when we talk about US, I have pretty much the same vision because I was at Bard College, which is 2 hours away from the New York City. And it is very small, like not small, but it's a very like student campus town. Like we're living in a very separate place. Almost we were always joking that we lived in the woods, seeing the animals every time. And everybody was like, why didn't you go to New York City? Because this is so much better and all of that. And I also have that opinion that for me, it's way better to be in a more calm place.
New York City is too much.
It's too much. Sometimes it's noisy and it's a big hustle culture. Like sometimes you miss that part where you need to enjoy the life actually. Yeah, so that's why I like Prague very much. And maybe also because it was my first time in Europe in general. So Budapest and then Prague. I also took one day to get to Vienna, but still liked Prague more. And yeah, I came back there and it was a summer school in politics and economics. It was actually that example where it was not a journalism conference or summer school, but I'm always interested in politics. And I think as a journalist, you need to be interested in politics. Even if you take sports journalists or comedy journalists or any other, maybe environmental journalists, I still think they should be invested in politics because everything is evolving around it. And then, well, I'm not really interested in economics, but I think that's also something that I need to know about. And yeah, that's pretty much
economics is boring.
It is actually. I hate numbers.
Yeah. I'm
accounts
doing
and statistics.
business administration
Yeah,
department,
you
but
know
I
it
but I
better.
but I hate it. Okay, so I think there's a question that a lot of people like mostly interested in. How did you get all these scholarships? But before, like, how did you find them, or how do you find them still, maybe, and what to do to get to the programs? Like maybe advices.
Yeah, I think here that skill of being very strategic is important because what I notice sometimes is that not all AUCA students know how AUCA works and what are the offices that are actually here. So not everyone knew about Silk at the moment, or not everyone knew about the conferences in general. Well, I might say the first cliche advice is check your emails and read them carefully, because I know some people are not reading them at all. And then they're like, oh, I didn't see that opportunity coming. And then, yeah, I think it's really important. And then about being strategic. So with, for example, the Get Engaged conference in Budapest, right? To get there, it's not enough just to be an active student and just to apply, right? Those students who got there, including me, were doing civic engagement projects before, because many students didn't know that they need to implement the project first before going there, because you go there to present your project. And I think right now they have even more strict requirements, is that you need to take an OSON course, like to fulfill it and all of that. So I knew that, and that's why I implemented the project during my freshman year. With the summer school, it was just an email to every AUCA student. And I think another important thing is to actually network a lot with fellow students at AUCA, to talk to people, because there are so many bright and active and smart students who actually go somewhere. Like you, for example, you also went to many places. And I think it's great to always have that connections, to have lunches in kitchenettes, to have coffees in Sierra, and talk about like, hey, what are your plans? Where are you applying for? And that is how I found out about TFAS, because like some of the active students, they were posting it on Instagram. And then I was like, hey, what's this program about? And then I applied. With BART, I knew that when I was in the 10th or 11th grade, I knew that AUCA will be the place where I will study. Of course, I was dreaming about studying in the US, but I didn't get in, unfortunately. And then I came here. But even back in the high school, I knew about the exchange programs with BART. And I knew that when I will be a junior student, I will go there. And I kind of researched what I need, what kind of applicant should I be in order to stand out and to actually get in. Because I think competition to BART or to UGRAD or to BJA is crazy. Like, it's the biggest competition ever at AUCA. And then, yeah, it's basically about, again, being curious, being initiative, and talk to people, to actually genuinely talk to people, check your emails, and be strategic. Like, if you're a freshman now, or if you're a sophomore now, and you feel like that there are some opportunities coming, like, you should prepare right now. And don't forget about your academics as well.
Oh, yeah. So check your emails, be strategic, think ahead, talk to people.
Right.
Okay. Coming back to the UCA, we know that you were everywhere, like as you now said, like, I mean, everywhere, like in civic engagement. Your education is also, I know that, like, you were a great student,
Yes.
probably, yeah?
Yes, I still am.
Yeah,
luckily.
this is amazing. Like, I don't know how people do this, really. So you're a student, civic engagement, career office, so everywhere. So volunteering also. So tell me, what was your favorite extracurricular? Just choose one, other than exchanges, okay?
Mm-hmm. I think for me, the most important one was actually working for the civic engagement office, because when I was a sophomore, they invited me to become some sort of a media writer of their office. And so we have lots of civic engagement initiatives across the country. And they decided that it is time to actually tell more about them, not about AUCA projects, but about other people out there. And I was a sophomore, I was only 18, and it was my first time where I get the opportunity to actually apply my knowledge in practice finally. And that's when me and my friend Alina, she was from TCMA department, she already graduated, and we were like partners in crime. So she was filming the videos and I was taking interviews and writing articles. That's where I first applied some of the technical skills, hard skills like working with data, visualizing it for the article. And was the first time when I actually got to the field. You know, in journalism, we say like you need to go out there to go to the field, to the place of the event or to the place where your character lives and talk to real people. So when I was a freshman, I was living in AUCA, I would say, only like doing AUCA extracurriculars, talking to AUCA people, living in that AUCA bubble. And I think it's a great thing to do when you're a freshman. But I think starting from sophomore, junior year, you kind of need to go out there in the world and to apply your knowledge in practice already. Because, you know, in this world, sometimes there are jokes like we needed to start an internship like way back when we were being born, because right now they require so many years of like experience. We're just stepping into the real world, real job market, and they require like 5 years of experience in the like beginner positions. So that's crazy. So I advise to begin as early as possible. Don't forget about your academics again. And yeah, I think working for them is extremely important. Well, I'm also very close to the academic advising office where I work as a communication officer, as a content creator for the Instagram. And that is the office that was there for me since I was a freshman. And they always supported me a lot, and they really play a great part in the formation, in my growth in general.
Give us some advices on how to manage like life, education, extracurriculars, travels, and everything.
Yeah, I think what I value, one more thing that I value is sports. So that is something present in my life as well. And also connecting to AUCA, I was in the AUCA volleyball team for the whole 4 years. And sports is extremely important because not only for like physical condition, but also for your brain, for your cognitive abilities, because, a bunch of research done for proving that. And in terms of time management, it's a great thing. I got to answer that question a lot of times, and I really struggle sometimes to find that one answer, one like universal answer, because at the end, I just think that like if you want to, you just do it, Well, in terms of time management, I'm really a big planner person. So I think some of my friends at AUCA, they sometimes saw me in the library or in the study zone, filling out my notebook like by hand and writing my plans. So I usually write my goals for the month, to-do list for the month. So like one big goal. Right now, biggest goal is to submit this thesis. Oh my God.
Yeah, and graduate.
Please,
huh?
yes, and graduate. And then like to-do lists is something like minor tasks. And then the same goes with my week. So I do the goals for the week. Like this week is finalizing the text of my thesis is the main goal. And then some small to-do tasks. So that's what helps me. But not all people are like that. Some people hate planning. Some people do it in the phone. I just like to do it with writing. Yes, I think we just spend so many time on our smartphones with digital screens, and sometimes taking that time to actually write it down in an old way, I think it's really great. In terms of other stuff, I think it's just I'm passionate about everything that I do. I'm passionate about studying, passionate about extracurriculars, about journalism, about sports. But I'm also not that, I would say I'm trying to be not that hustler who sacrifices her health or her life for that. I just really try to spend time with friends. I like to party sometimes, I like to enjoy the life actually. And to also spend time with family is extremely important for me. And to just take some walks. I think if you just do what you love and if you're really passionate about it, you will find time for that, I guess.
I don't know how much time we spent, but that was super useful time for me, and I hope that our viewers will like it. I don't know if you want to say something else, share something. Oh, and also I wanted to note that maybe you forgot, but talking about sports, she's also a super good ice skater.
Figure skater, yes.
Yeah,
ice
figure skater. Yeah, I have seen some videos. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. If you want to say something to our followers or maybe anything else to share, please.
Yeah, I think one thing that I would just add is that another big part of my AUCA journey that helped me a lot to overcome some of the challenges is therapy. So ACA is unique in terms of that, in terms of providing therapy services for students. Counseling service is a great place where we have psychologists for free, and we can visit them. And therapy has been in my life, I think, since I was a sophomore. So I visit my therapist, and it really helps sometimes, because what I would say, ACA has lots of high achievers, A+ students who really push, and sometimes we kind of forget about our emotions. We have burnouts. I had burnouts because, sometimes it's really overwhelming. It sounds fancy and cool at the end, but it is really overwhelming in the process. Sometimes you just have no power, no strength to just wake up, sometimes because it's too much. And then therapy is what really was helping me throughout the journey to actually kind of think about my emotions, to kind of ask questions for myself, like what are my priorities, what are my values, to deal with certain situations. Stress is everywhere, in the daily life. And I think that counseling service is great. And prices for psychologists and therapists are insane. So I think if you are like an ACA student, you should take an advantage of it if you want to, of course. It's no pressure at all. But yeah, right now graduating, I really want to take all out of that, because it's really expensive. Like after that, $100 for one therapy, for one session. So, but yeah, jokes aside, therapy is extremely important. Your emotions are important, and we should take care of our minds as well as we take care of our body. And that is really important. Like take care of your sleep, your nutrition. Mental health is extremely important. Yeah. And what else I would say? I just think that I would say some seconds to thank my family for support. It has been a long journey. And I think what I'm most proud of is that I took almost every single opportunity from ACA and from international arena or something that I could. And it was sometimes challenging, but it was worth it. And I think what really sometimes, in many cases, what stands behind those high achievers and A+ students are their families who support them throughout the journey. And especially to my mother, who is always encouraging me. She's the one who's like, apply. We will find everything. We will find all the research. You should apply. You should go for it. You should attend that conference. You should do that and that. Because sometimes I doubt myself, like, am I enough for that? Yeah, thank you, Mom. And she is always extremely supportive, so as well as other family members, and I'm extremely grateful for that.
Thank you, Salima, for coming today. This conversation was super insightful. It was honest. Thank you for being honest and full of wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Erbol. And I think that I just want to wish the best of luck to ACA TV in general, because this is the club that I was excited to join when I was a freshman, but I found out that it's not operating. Then I tried to do some efforts to open it again. And now I see that the team is here. Everything is very organized and structured at AUCA TV. And it's very, very important club, by the way, to the JMC students and girls as well, because here you can practice your skills and become as a role interviewing other people or sit here and talk about your experiences.
Yes, we're both graduating this year.
Exactly.
We need someone to replace us, please.
So yes, please just reach out to AUCA TV on Instagram. And I wish the best of luck ending the ACA semester to all of the ACA students, and we will get through this.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.